like to take a moment to just walk you through a little video on how to coat a complex part or a product that maybe has a recessed cavity. A lot of times people really struggle trying to figure out what is the best way to approach a complex product like that or a complex geometry. I've got with me today a little example of something that's easy on the outside but yet more complex on the inside. It's a small little locker that has some hidden recessed areas inside as well as the flat surfaces on the outside. So let's start with how would we approach the coating of this. Now, depending upon whether you're in a production environment where you're doing one at a time, or maybe you have a production line where there's multiple pieces passing down the line, may dictate some of the parts of this that you may want to select. But if we were just approaching this as a one item to coat, we might want to take advantage of coating the exterior of the product utilizing our control unit with the flat or easy parts mode. That gives us the most amount of power. The flat parts mode is set up so that we have 100,000 volts and a microamp setting of 100. That allows the gun to achieve its highest charging of power, to be able to, as we spray the gun around the surface, top, bottom, sides, back, that allows us to be able to get that coated very effectively and efficiently with the most amount of powder on it and the least amount of oversprayed material. Transitioning to the inside, we'll open up the box itself, and we can see that the inside of the locker has a lot of corners that we're going to have to get. So the question is, how do I approach that? Generally using the flat parts mode, you may find that maybe in some cases some people have found success, but generally what we find is that Faraday cage effect kicks in as we have so much power emitted from the gun that it is difficult to get the powder to penetrate inside on all of the corners. So when we move to the inside, we would go to our complex coating mode, which is the second preset. In that particular position, it allows us to be able to have 100,000 volts, but it does limit the current to 22 microamps. And that allows us to be able to reduce some of the power that's coming out of the gun, helps us to be able to coat the product as we get into the corners. So for those of you that maybe have the product coming down the production line, you may want to go ahead and start with the complex mode, both for the outside and the inside. One of the advantages of the OptiFlex Pro gun is that even in the complex mode, when we are at 22 microamps and 100,000 volts, if we are maintaining a proper target distance, the gun will still achieve high charging efficiency on these flatter surfaces. And that's one of the advantages of selecting current mode, is that it does allow the gun to return to full power when it can, when the target distance is the appropriate distance and it's not generating too much current draw through the gun. So it does allow someone to be able to get effective use out of that. So whether you're starting with the flat parts mode and then going to complex coating, or you're go ahead and starting with the number 2 position here, the complex geometry, either one should find that you'll have good success. Let's talk a little bit about the technique of coating. We'll take our spray gun here, and I want to always recommend that you would utilize the nozzle in either a vertical or a horizontal manner, because we want to take advantage of the fan pattern that is coming out of the nozzle as we manipulate the gun and try and coat the inside. The type of nozzle that you choose really depends on your preference, whether it's the larger fan spray that we have here, the NF40, or if you would prefer to choose one of the other versions that we offer, the NF20, which is smaller, the NF22, or the NF21. Each of those are getting smaller in their pattern size, which may improve penetration. Regardless, whichever nozzle you're choosing, the technique is still the same in terms of how to coat the interior. And the best method is to utilize the pattern to be able to coat the hardest areas of the product first. So when we bring the gun in, we're going to position it so that we're coating all of the corners first, and then we will come back and coat the flatter surfaces as one final approach. So the technique would be to utilize the direction of the fan pattern and trigger the gun into a corner. coating the back corners, manipulating it around, holding a target distance of somewhere between 2 to 4 inches if we can. There may be some situations that would require a deeper target distance, but once we've coated all 4 corners and done the hardest part first, then we would come back in and then lightly touch up any of the flatter surfaces that would need to be coated with the gun, whether that's the back or the sides and so forth. So coating the corners first, following the various seams, and then choosing to coat the flatter parts afterwards would give you the best coating inside. If you've coated the inside first and then you're moving to the exterior, then you would use, again, a much greater target distance. The flatter surfaces are easier to coat, so it's more likely that a 6 to 10 inch target distance would be more appropriate for coating the various flat surfaces, where we would start with the upper part and coat using a zigzag motion and moving very slowly as we coat. One of the things about powder coating to remember is that powder coating is usually a slower coating method, so going slow with our hand motion is usually preferred, allowing the gun to build the thickness that we need. And all of those should help you to achieve a very good coating on a very complex part like you see here. If you have more questions, please reach out to us or look us up online. Check us out on social media. Any of those would be good resources to contact us, or certainly talking with one of our authorized distributors. Check us out at another video on how to coat with the OptiFlex Pro. We thank you for watching.